Hey guys, we're still on lesson 2.1, Write, Interpret, and Simplify Expressions. So I want to go over a few examples just to make sure that you understand how to do distributive property and combining like terms. So if we look at this first example, the first thing we see is the parentheses. And remember, the parentheses means that you have to distribute. That means you have to multiply the 4 by each term inside the parentheses. So 4 times 5x is 20x. 4 times 1 is plus 4. And then this is outside the parentheses, so you just bring it down. Now we have two things that are in common. So we have a 2x and a minus 3x. So remember that the negative 3, okay, that's the same as plus a negative 3, but 20 minus 3 is 17x. So we can combine those because they have the same variable. And then we simply bring down the plus 4. All right, if we look at the next example, this one has 1 plus 3y. There's nothing we can do to that right off the bat. But then this one has a negative in front of this parentheses. That means that negative is the same as a negative 1 that has to be distributed or multiplied to each term inside the parentheses. So remember when you do that, remember it has to go to both of those terms. So negative times 2 is negative 2. And negative times negative 5y is plus 5y. So if you're not careful, if you miss that sign, then you will have the wrong sign and combined it incorrectly. All right, so again, we are going to combine like terms. I have positive 3y plus 5y. So that is going to give me 8y. And then I have 1 plus negative 2. 1 plus negative 2 is negative 1. So simplified, 8y minus 1 is equivalent to the example we started with. All we did was simplify. All right, the next example has two sets of parentheses. So we're going to start with the first set. So we've got 3 times 4x, which is 12x. And we've got 3 times 2, or 6. Then we have another set of parentheses. This time it's a positive 2. So we don't have to worry about losing a sign, but we got to do 2 times x. Still going to be positive because both of these terms are positive. And then positive 2 times negative 1. A positive times a negative is negative. So 2 times 1 would be negative 2. All right, then we're going to combine like terms. So we have 12 plus 2, or 14x. And we have 6 plus negative 2. So 6 minus 2 is 4. So 14x plus 4 is what we get when we simplify that expression. All right, the next example is 1/3 times what's in parentheses. So if you look at it as you're just multiplying two numbers, sometimes people panic or they don't like fractions, but fractions are not terrible, especially if it's like a half or a third or something easy to look at. And if you look at this, 3 goes into 6 and 15 easily. So 1/3 of 6, just think of 6 divided by 6 divided by 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. And I still have my x. And we've got 15 divided by 3. Don't forget your negative sign. 15 divided by 3 is 5. And then just bring down the negative 3x. All right, so if you need to take your calculator and multiply 1/3 times 6x, but again, if you just look at it, it's the same as 6x divided by 3, because this would be multiplied on top and then divided by what's on the bottom. So 6x divided by 3 is 2. 15 divided by 3 is negative 5. All right, 2x plus negative 3, that's going to be a negative x, and then bring down your negative 5. So again, we're doing distributive property, and we're combining like terms in order to simplify these expressions. All right, we have one more example. All right, so this example has a decimal. All right, so we're going to do 0.2 times 4.9, and that's going to be 0.98x. And if you just think about like your significant digits, 0.2, just think of 2 times 49. 2 times 50 is 100. 2 times 49 is the 98. So, and then you just have to use the decimal places because you had a 0.2 and a 4.9. So, easy enough. And then 0.2 times 6 is plus 1.2. And that should make sense because we've got 2 times 6 is 12, and then we have one decimal place. All right, and then we've got 0.8 times 2. 2 times 8 is 16, and we have the one decimal place, so it's 1.6. And then we've got 0.8 times negative 3. 3 times 8 is 24. Remember, a positive and a negative is a negative, so we got 24x. But because it's 0.8, we have to have that decimal place. And again, if you need to use your calculator, that's okay. But hopefully this makes sense in what the numbers are. All right, so we've got 0.98x and we have negative 2.4x. So this number is larger, so it's going to take away almost a whole one of these, so this should be almost one less than this. So let's say it's still going to be negative though. So we're going to get negative 1.42 x. And then I'm going to add these two together. So 1 and 1 make 2, and 0.2 and 0.6 make 0.8. All right, so there we go. So negative 1.42x plus 2.8 is the simplified version of what we started with. So this looks a whole lot simpler than what we started with. All right, if you have any questions, please let me know.